Well, Stray is a new post-cyberpunk 3D platformer puzzler where you play as a cat. And this is perhaps the most realistic game where you play as an animal with all the fluid animation and realistic cat-like behaviour built in. Now, Stray piqued a lot of interest when it was first shown off at State of Play back in 2021, and it's finally released on PlayStation and PC. Well, the narrative in Stray is relatively straightforward. This is a post-cyberpunk world where humanoid robots live or have lived and cower in fear in sight of something that's actually living. And we start by hanging out with a bunch of cats doing their cat things, rubbing up against each other, meowing, and generally having a lazy time about it. After venturing out of their enclosure where they were sheltering from the rain, our main protagonist manages to fall down into the depths of the city, losing contact with their cat family. Ultimately, Stray is one of the most detailed and realistic versions of playing as a cat in video games. I really don't think anything else comes close. Blue 12 Studio have done a great job realising their vision of players inhabiting a cat in their game, with detailed animations, context-aware controls, sounds and also haptic feedback that really draws you into the relatively quiet world. You can jump up on ledges, knock items off shelves like bottles or paint cans, and perhaps most satisfying of all, you can dig your paws into the floor and scratch. You can meow to attract enemies and scratch at planks or blinds to either knock them over or create small openings for you to crawl through. Now, it is all very realistic, and you can see the care and attention the studio has put into the game. So exploration is the name of the game, and there's very little dialogue, if any. And as soon as you drop into that city with a hard thud after the opening scene when you lose your cat family, you are encouraged to explore. The controls are simple, they're easy to understand and contextual as well. You can't simply jump around wherever you want, you have to walk up to a prompt and interact with it. For example, if you walk on a ledge or a gap, you'll be prompted to jump. If you walk next to an item like a bottle or something like that, you can knock it over and so on and so forth. The city itself is big and there's plenty of side alleys and apartments to search. Sometimes you'll be given a helping hand when traversing the environment. If you're really high up, then you can quickly travel down via a bucket attached to a rope. So there's multiple ways to get to locations, so while the game feels fairly linear, you do have a certain amount of choice with how you go about exploration. Well, another main feature of Stray are the puzzles. So these are small environmental puzzles. For example, early on, you're tasked with finding a key code in an apartment, given your progress is blocked by a locked door with a 4-digit PIN. It's then your job to search the apartment for the code, and the puzzles reminded me of the shrines in Breath of the Wild. They're small, contained puzzles, and they offer up a little bit of brain exercise. Another good example early on is where you need to find 4 plugs in a room, and they're hidden in various places, where you have to climb up ladders, hit switches to reveal them, and carry them to a location in your mouth. Early in the game, you unlock a little helper droid by the name of B12, and he'll be able to help you by distracting enemies, hacking terminals, and generally serve as the cute but useful sidekick. Well, the puzzles come in a couple of varieties. You've got the shorter puzzles and the longer puzzles. So the short ones are often contained to a room or an apartment, whereas the longer ones you have to collect parts of droids or various items, and that turns our cat protagonist into an investigator. And it's your job to collect the pieces of the puzzle, put them together in a coherent solution, and that is something that Stray does very well indeed. Well, the story is delivered through a series of chapters where you get put into different environments. First of all, you've got the closed, cramped city. Later on, you'll find yourself in wide open areas. You've got the slums, you've got the rooftops, various things like that. There's a sense of openness to the game, but it's really a single-player linear game that takes approximately 5 or 6 hours to finish. In this day and age, that is very welcome, and this is the kind of game you're going to find coming out of an indie studio these days rather than the big AAA studios. That investment is going into open world or other live service games, but Stray is a nice, neat contained package that starts and ends neatly, which is all too rare these days. So as a complement to the main story, trying to get back to your cat family, as well as solve some of the mysteries you encounter along the way, in the narrative you've also got these side quests of sort. So we have to restore B12's memories, where we have to determine where to go from broken digital images, and then help B12 remember. You don't have to go out your way to find all of these. Some of them are going to pop up as you go through the main story, although most of them have to be sought out through exploration and recognition. And this is where the game works at its best. Role-playing as a cat, finding small gaps, high places to get to, and hidden secrets. Stray starts out as a complete mystery. As you continue to explore the world and the story of B12, the city and the robots unveil themselves to the player, and really it is absolutely a wonderful experience. B12 just isn't your standard robot helper. He's more than an inventory system or a tool to be used. This is much more like a relationship from a game like Ratchet and Clank, rather than Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. B12 isn't the only robot that we meet throughout the game, and you're going to encounter robots called the Outsiders, robots who want to escape and find themselves a better existence, as the weight of the city and society long dead weighs down upon them. Other characters and NPCs are hard to come by in the game, but the city does an excellent job with its environmental storytelling through posters and other digital artwork. Stray tells the story of survival through the eyes of a small cat, whether it's our feline trying to find their family, or the desperate robots trying to carve out a new existence. Well, Stray is a wonderful little indie game, where you see the world through the eyes of a small feline creature. The journey along the way is touching, albeit rather short. There isn't a game out there that allows you to roleplay as a cat in the same way as this. I'm sure that many cat lovers out there are going to really love this game. Based on the reaction on social media, it looks like real-life cats are also interacting with screens, thinking the cat from Stray is real, and it is very touching seeing these videos and these images. So I would 100% recommend Stray. It's unique and memorable, and the gameplay is also fun. Well, the game was developed by Blue 12 Studio, as published by Annapurna Interactive. It's available for PS5 and PC, and I reviewed it on the PS5. It was originally released on the 19th of July, 2022. Well, that is it for now from Stray, and as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. Hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.
PlayStation